Hello and welcome back to the Littlest PetCast, and today we are going over the episode Mean Isn't Your Color. Now, strap in for this one, because this is the most notes I've written for an episode thus far. But I don't know how much it would actually go. I'm assuming actual length, but if I keep dilly-dallying like this, maybe not. So anyway, Mrs. Twombly walks into the pet shop with a bunch of doorknobs because she collects doorknobs, as you can see from the vases full of doorknobs and the wall of doorknobs in her office. So, but not only did she pick up doorknobs, she shows Blythe and some of the pets an outfit that she's picked out for herself, which looks really bad. To be perfectly honest, it's like pink with brown and green accents, and it just does not look great. And then there's also a orange hat, which the orange hat looks fine on its own, but like with the pink green brownness of the dress, it doesn't look that great. But she also shows Blythe and the pets tickets to a charity ball, and she's inviting the pets and Blythe. And Blythe says the pets will be excited about the tickets to the ball, and then Mrs. Twombly remarks that they'll be excited if you give them a ball, which is funny because it's true. So Mrs. Twombly asks Blythe to watch over the pet shop while she takes a power nap, and she turns one of the doorknobs to just pull a bed from the wall and just goes to sleep on it. Or, well, takes a nap. I'm in psychology, and we're learning about different forms of sleep and stuff. But that doesn't matter for this. What matters is that Mrs. Twombly has a freaking wall in her bed. Now, I'm no architect, but I don't think that's a stable design function. It might not be, but it's still weird nonetheless. So, with Mrs. Twombly taking a power nap, Blythe tells the pets about the ball, but they already heard it, and they're doing a conga line about how they're going to the ball, and it's like they're going to the ball. Yeah, we're going to the ball. Like, you know, that whole thing, the conga, whatever. I just could not resist the beat. That should be another thing on Tumblr's list of songs that white people get turned to. I think is the list. Just the conga, because they can't resist. I should know. I'm white. I'm especially white. But speaking of songs, like this happens for all of the episodes with the intro, but what is up with the audio mixing on the intro? It's so loud compared to everything else in the show and maybe on Netflix. I don't know, it's just loud for the theme song, like blaringly loud. I'm sure like everyone in my apartment woke up because of that. But it's just loud, and then it's just not loud anymore. It's regular thing, like volume. And I don't know why that happens. But back on task. Penny Ling is like expressing her desires for what like the charity ball will bring. as she dreams of elegance and desire. Meanwhile, Blythe announces that she'll design new outfits for all of the pets. And Penny Ling goes into a red carpet fantasy where everyone goes out onto the red carpet, and then Penny Ling is the last to exit, where she's acting coy, where she's like, "Oh, you want to take pictures of me?" And then everyone's cheering, and then she exits the limo, and everyone's cheering harder, and they're asking for Penny's autograph, which just consists of a paw print, which, sure, I guess. I mean, I don't know how else you would do it. And also in the fantasy, there are gorilla guards to keep everyone on the right side of the velvet rope, which, I don't know, like, I don't know, just saying the velvet rope just makes me think of that 70s show episode called The Velvet Rope, where the janitor from Scrubs was a bouncer at a nightclub. But, okay, distractions aside, so after the fantasy is over, Blythe uses the dumbwaiter to ride up to her room, which, I don't know, I find shocking, because, like, I don't know, the dumbwaiter is how she got into this mess in the first place, and it is unstable, because she has fallen down it, and so have the pets. But I guess it's a method of transportation that they use now. Which, I mean, they use it in the intro, so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But it's still somewhat shocking, you know? Like, I don't know if I would do that, but whatever works. So, anyway, in the room, she begins designing her new outfits with young me in the room. Like, she's going through the process of creating styles and then jotting them down, seeing what sticks. And then Roger enters the room and then says, "Hey," to young me. And then young me says, "Hey, Mr. Baxter." But then Roger wants young me to just call him Roger. But then young me doesn't do that because it's not her style. So then Roger tries to reverse psychology on her by calling her Ms. Song. But Blythe says that reverse psychology doesn't work on her, or really any form of psychology, because young me's special. Those are her words, not mine. And you will see why in a later bit. But for now, Roger asks Blythe to fix up his old suit, which, when presented, the kid's note is an outdated mess from, like, the 70s, I think. 70s or 80s. I don't know. Maybe it was outdated when he was wearing it, and he was just wearing it in the 90s. And just, I can believe Roger's that kind of guy who just goes to thrift stores and tries pulling off the styles of his dad. Because, like, you know, he's just that kind of guy. I don't know. Roger's fun. I like Roger, as we've already established. So anyway, Roger says that he needs this suit to be fixed up because he's going to the ball and he has a date. Now this is where the fun begins in the episode, because immediately Blythe freaks out about this because she has, like, no idea who this mystery woman is, and she's just not used to the idea of her dad dating. But young me, being the friend she is, she pulls out her phone and looks up something and finds the 7 stages of dealing with your dad dating. And meanwhile, while Blythe is like distracted with the news that Roger's dating someone, she draws on Penny Ling's page where she was beginning to design something for Penny Ling, but then her dad came in and then all of this happened, and then she forgot that it was the Penny Ling page, and so designed the suit on the Penny Ling page. But anyway, young me is trying to be supportive with this and saying that the 7 stages of dealing with your dad dating worked on, again, her words, on her cousin's mother's dog walker twice removed. I think that was it. I couldn't exactly tell what the second word was. I think it was mother's, but whatever. The important thing I wanted to note is that a dog walker can somehow be twice removed. But, so young me goes on to list the stages while Blythe performs mini actions in all of them. And then we get to stage 1 in Blythe's dealing with this, distress and denial, where Blythe goes on a rant about how she doesn't need to learn any of the stages because maybe she didn't hear her dad right. But then young me says, yeah, no, you're in distress and denial about all of this. And then after they leave, we see the reveal of Penny Lee wearing Roger's suit in the image. So, meanwhile, back at the pet shop, Penny Ling compares pinks to see which pink looks best on her by taking stuff around the pet shop and comparing them. And then she asks for advice. Minka says that the litter box's pink looks good on her, but Zoe says that there's something about the dog bed pink that calls to her, specifically the dog bed. And then Minka and Zoe get into a fight about which it is, but then Pepper interjects by saying, you do know you're arguing about whether a panda would look better in a litter box or a dog bed, but I don't know, they just go with it, kind of. And then they wanted to check with Blythe to see how everything was going, and so they decided to do that. So then it's the next day, and Blythe is aggressively combing her hair while FaceTiming with young me. And Blythe says that she could not sleep because she kept thinking about her dad's situation, and it's just stressing her out a bit, and pulling out her hair with her comb, which I don't think is healthy at all. I mean, both the stressing and the tearing your hair out with a comb, but either way. Anyway, so Blythe goes into a tangent about how she could have been there more for her dad, and then asks the question of the episode. Would it kill me to have watched Lawnmower Wars once in a while? Which Young Yi responds to with, it might have, but I would totally watch a movie called Lawnmower Wars. That sounds awesome. Lawnmower Wars, The Phantom Terrace, Lawnmower Wars, Attack of the Crows, Lawnmower Wars. This one's harder than I thought. Oh god, I can't. I really only came up with The Phantom Terrace, But dang it, Lawnmower Wars should totally be a movie. So then Blythe goes into... Sorry, I'm still thinking about Lawnmower Wars. Okay, so Blythe goes into detail about all the things she didn't mean to do, which brings us to stage 2. I didn't mean to. And Blythe's like, but I really didn't mean to. And then Youngmi's just like, whatever, it's part of the thing. And then they hang up as the pets come up to see the designs. And Blythe says they've only got a few minutes because she has to rush to school because she's running late because she's stressing out. And then they look through. Zoe says she likes hers. Minka says she likes her. Minka says she likes... I thought I got over this last time with explaining what a shtick is. But no, Minka likes hers so much that she wants to eat it because it's full of fruit. Why is this a hard thing to say? Just say it. But then Penny Ling sees her page, which is covered in Roger's suit, and doesn't like it, causing a misunderstanding between Penny Ling and Blythe. And Penny Ling is mad while Zoe and Minka are like, oh yeah, our outfits are great. And then Penny Ling's like, So at school, Blythe is complaining at lunch about her dad dating, and then Jasper, Sue, and Young Mi are like, this is a totally normal thing that happens with available men. And then Blythe is just still freaking out more and is just getting really angry, and then promises to be a better daughter, which brings us to stage 3, fury and promises. And then Blythe gets so mad at Young Mi texting that at her that everyone else can see the rage boiling inside of her, and they leave, but not before Young Mi says that she's now on stage 4, so lonely I could cry. Which, when she realizes she's alone in the lunchroom, she just starts crying. Which, I don't know, seems like kind of a bad move on your part, Young Mi. I don't know, does she want to be alone? Does she need to be alone to cry? I don't know. This is just so... I wouldn't leave her alone, especially like this. But I don't know, I guess it's healthy in this whole thing. But I don't know. Back at the pet shop, everyone else is ecstatic over the designs, while Penny Ling is sulking over against the wall. And then when Sunil is like, oh, do you think someone can look too good to Penny Ling? Penny Ling just snaps and then just goes on a rampage and then hides in a corner. Pepper says she'll check it out, but when she does, Pepper runs away because Penny Ling is still in rampage mode. So upstairs, Roger approaches Blythe with a milk and cookie because Roger says that he heard that you shouldn't approach a working daughter without a snack. So Roger's just the sweetest. He's just the sweetest guy. I just want to give him a hug. Blythe asks about the date Roger has, And then Roger's like, oh yeah, I can't wait to spend the evening with my favorite girl. And then Blythe is like, oh, she's your favorite girl? And Roger's just like, yeah. And then he's like, toodles. And then Blythe has a mini freak out about how her dad says toodles. And so then after all of that, Young Me Skypes, because Discord wasn't a thing back then, Blythe. And Blythe asks Young Me what's missing from her dad's suit. And then Young Me answers with, your dad? But then Blythe proposes a like Wile E. Coyote or Tom and Jerry type scenario where she sticks a water boutonniere in her dad's suit so that her date can get squirted with water from it, but then Blythe just sprays herself, and then Young Me laughs about the situation, and then so does Blythe, and then Blythe realizes, what is she doing? She's just taking this way too hard. And then Young Me says it's time for stage 5, adjusting to the situation, which she is. So downstairs at the pet shop, in Penny Ling's corner, Penny Ling is looking into a mirror, talking to herself to psych herself up to tell Blythe that she doesn't like the design that she saw. And she's like, I know I haven't done this before, but I can do it now. And then it flashes back to 3 examples where she hasn't done it, where Pepper tells a joke and she fakes a laugh. Vinny Danson's in... Okay, according to like Speech Correct, it's Lederhosen, but I've always heard it as Leinnerhosen. And Penny Ling pretends to be impressed by the Lederhosen. It's still weird to know, but whatever. And then Zoe's singing intimidates Penny, but she pretends to enjoy that. Penny just wants to say what she's thinking and not be afraid of the consequences. And so she practices by saying, Blythe, I don't like the outfit you made me, to herself. And then she looks out and sees the world is still there, which is really relatable for like people who have this kind of anxiety or any kind of anxiety. That I would know because I have OCD and I have to load the dishwasher a certain way. Otherwise, the world just stops making sense. So, yeah, it's a completely relatable feeling. Blythe is now working on the suit, and she's less stressed. And then Young Me makes a call, and they talk about it. And Young Me says that Blythe is at stage 6, coming to grips. So Blythe asks if you want to celebrate with something, and then Young Me says that she wants ice cream and that she's at the front door, in which Blythe goes to get the door while Penny Ling sneaks in to tell Blythe about how she feels, but sees that Blythe isn't there, and then she sees Roger's suit, which she thinks is for her, which she notes is weird because, like, it's like 20 times her size. And then Penny Ling's just like, measure twice, cut once. So, but then Penny Ling decides to try it on because maybe it'll fit better on. But then when she goes to do it, she notes that it'll fit better on a grizzly bear, which I want to bring up. Okay, I know grizzly bears are big, but pandas should also be big. And I'm fine with little pandas, but I don't know why there can't be little grizzly bears. I mean, that's like a lot of what Build-A-Bear Workshop is. But like that in real life? I mean, okay, I guess having a small grizzly bear of some kind wearing different outfits might infringe on Build-A-Bear and its trademark. But I don't see why else a grizzly bear can't be, like as small as Penny Ling. And also, I do want to note that while grizzlies can be big, I've never heard of a giant grizzly bear. I've heard of a giant panda. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Penny Ling looks at herself in the mirror and notes that she doesn't look good. So she tries to get out of the suit and accidentally rips the sleeve on it. And she is concerned that the others will think she did that on purpose. But then Blythe and Young Me enter the room with ice cream and see the rip, and Young Me thinks it was Blythe, but Blythe's like, no, I didn't do this. And then Young Me's like, I think we're reverting back to stage 3. But Blythe didn't do that. So when Penny Ling gets down from the dumbwaiter, the rest of the pets are there to hold an intervention about Penny Ling's mood. And Russell has a list of things that could be making her angry. Russell asks if she has fleas, which Minka goes to check and then presumably eat if she finds them, but she doesn't find them. And then Russell asks if it's on fluffy pillows and that it could be discomfort, but it's not that either. And then Russell asks if it's about what others have said to Penny Ling, pointing at Zoe. And then Zoe's like, at Russell. And then Russell's like, yeah. And then Penny Ling, angry at this rigmarole, shouts, leave me alone, baring her claws, but then just starts sitting down and crying. And then Vinny says that while he might not be really smart, he figures that she actually doesn't want to be left alone, which Penny Ling says she doesn't, and that she wants help, saying that she doesn't like the suit that Blythe made her. But then Zoe's like, oh, if that's your problem? That's not a problem, really. I do it all the time. And then Penny Ling comes out with, but I'm not you. I can't say things that aren't nice. Which I feel should have been followed up with that gif of like the like gang reacting with like the go and the guy like coming in front of the camera and just holding his face like but instead it was followed up with Penny realizing that she just did that, and then Zoe's like shocked, and then she feels bad about it. But then Russell says that he'll lend a hand and tell Blythe what she thinks for her. And then Penny Ling gives Russell a hug and then feels a spine from the thing. So, in Blythe's room, Roger checks in on Blythe, and then after their brief conversation, Blythe says toodles, which shows how far she's come in all of this. And Blythe fantasizes about the woman Roger's dating, about how she hopes she's nice. She hopes she's good with kids, has a good fashion style, and says things like toodles, which really is the woman that Roger would be interested in dating. But then after that, young me sends Blythe a Skype message saying that she's on stage 7, totally okay with it. And Blythe feels like she is, and then feels weirded out by young me knowing that without her presence in the room or her talking about it. And Blythe says that young me gives me the willies sometime. But then young me sends another Skype message saying, I do not give you the willies, which gives her the willies even more. And she closes her computer. So then the pets come out to see their outfits, and then the pets change? I don't want to say change, because I just realized how weird that is. Changing would mean like taking off and putting on clothes. They're just putting on clothes. Yeah, this is so weird to just suddenly say out loud. So the pets put on their clothes and model their clothes. And after all the modeling is done, Blythe realizes that Penny Ling isn't there. And Russell starts to say, well, Penny Ling just... And then Zoe interrupts and says that Penny Ling hates the outfit. And, just goes on to say, someone had to say it, and I did. But then Blythe pulls out Penny Ling's outfit. It's just a stylish pink dress. And the pets like it and say that Penny Ling would like it. And then Vinny says that he would totally wear it. Which, good for you, Vinny. It looks good. It might need to be a few sizes shorter to fit you, because, Penny Ling's big, but she looks good for a panda, because she's a panda and you're a lizard. But whatever. You might be able to pull it off. Oh god, I just realized he is going to. I forgot. Okay. No, that episode comes later, this a little bit later. I think it's in this season, but whatever. Let's not really. So, Blythe realizes the problem when she sees Penny Ling drawn with Roger's suit on it, and then she goes up to the roof to find Penny Ling. I don't know how Penny Ling got to the roof. I can kind of see a way for Blythe to get to the roof. I'm just not sure how Penny Ling could. But that's the least of our worries at this point. So, Blythe begins to apologize, but then Penny Ling interrupts, saying that she needs to get something off her chest. And then she admits to not liking the design of the outfit Blythe made for her. But then Blythe reveals that she had a different design for Penny Ling's dress and shows it to Penny Ling and apologizes for the mix-up. And she talks about how she was so focused on her anxiety that she didn't know Penny Ling's anxiety. And it was just rough on both of them. And Blythe says that Penny Ling should have just said something, because it would have made everything more clear about everything. And then Roger comes up to the roof and thanks Blythe for patching up his suit and fixing it in a big exaggerated way. And then he pulls out a rose, and Roger reveals that the date that he was going on was actually just a father-daughter date with Blythe. And then Blythe realizes that she should have said how she was feeling as well, like how Penny Ling should have just said something. And Roger's like, I just assume you would know that you were my date. But then Blythe is like, you should never make assumptions. But then they hug it out. Roger's just the sweetest dad. I just, If I ever pick up Dream Daddy, I am naming my character Roger. Hashtag Roger for Dream Daddy 2. I'm starting that. Hashtag Roger for Dream Daddy 2. But anyway, so at the end, Roger says that he realized that Blythe would be so busy focusing on the outfits for everyone else that she wouldn't get one for herself. So he asked Mrs. Twombly to pick out an outfit for Blythe. And Blythe realizes what that means, because in the first scene we see Mrs. Twombly does not have the best style. So, this is a pretty long episode. I'm glad I asked you to strap in. So, final thoughts. I actually really like this episode because it goes over different anxieties and how different people deal with them, and that's something that more kids shows should be doing, and I just love it for that, because kids they should learn the difference between right and wrong and how to clean up a mess or whatever kids shows teach, but they should also be learning more difficult stuff. This is a good example of that, and really like that. It explains it in a way that's simple and easy to understand, even with some kind of tropiness in the mix. But all in all, it's a really sweet episode, and I just love it for that. So that is it for this episode of the Littlest PetCast. Tune in next time for the next episode. Rustle up some fun. And I'm going to start saying this. I'm going to say this now. I might not say it next episode. But please remember to leave a comment on the Shout Engine page or leave a review on iTunes. Because I just want to hear your feedback, because I enjoy that kind of stuff. Thanks for listening.